Did you know that the Biden administration just announced its intention to block a bill that could impact who votes in federal elections? That's right, guys. Today we're getting into a controversy surrounding H.R. 8281, the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act. In other words, Joe Biden threatened to veto a bill that will block illegal aliens and other non-citizens from voting in November's federal elections. We'll unpack the key points and political drama going on, what it means for you. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're dissecting a hot topic that's stirring up the DC swamp, the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act and President Biden's plan to block it. This bill aims to make it illegal for non-citizens, including all 12 million of Joe Biden's illegals, to vote in federal elections. But why is this causing such a fuss? Well, stick around because the twists in this story are pretty wild. So here's the scoop. House Speaker Mike Johnson is calling out President Biden after the White House announced it would block H.R. 8281. This bill would require proof of U.S. citizenship to register to vote in federal elections. Johnson claims this move by Biden should alarm every American, and he's not pulling any punches. Guys, the magnitude of a sitting president threatening to veto a bill that will ensure that illegal aliens cannot vote in presidential and congressional elections is breathtaking. In the House, there was absolutely no Democrat support for the bill. Now you know why Biden has been bringing in millions upon millions of illegals and no Democrats were complaining. Now, what's the White House saying? They argue that states already have effective safeguards in place to verify voters' eligibility and maintain the accuracy of voter rolls. They also insist that the current laws to prevent non-citizen voting are working as intended. Do they forget 2020? Tom Fitton of Judicial Watch tweeted out back in 2019 that during the 2018 midterm elections, over 900,000 illegal aliens voted. Give it a watch.
Voter integrity is a big issue for Judicial Watch. We have this election integrity project. And federal law allows individuals and groups like Judicial Watch who are aggrieved to sue states over their failure to take reasonable steps to clean up the election rolls, because we found in states like California, they have more people on the rolls than are eligible to vote. So we successfully sued in Ohio. We had a settlement. In Indiana, we sued. Indiana, did what we needed them to do, so we ended the lawsuit. In Kentucky, I think it was one of the worst states, believe it or not. A Republican-controlled state largely, had more people on the rolls than were eligible to vote. And these are people who would otherwise be, when there are more people on the rolls than are actually living there, it means you've got people who have moved away who are still on the rolls, or dead people who are still on the rolls. And it's my view, dirty voting rolls can mean dirty elections. So nationally, there are 3.5 million, our great Judicial Watch lawyers and investigators found, 3.5 million extra names on the rolls than are eligible to vote. And 1.56 million of them, we confirmed, are in Los Angeles County.
Yeah, there you go.
We sued Los Angeles County and the state of California over that massive problem, and they settled, and they agreed to remove up to 1.56 million inactive names, which are names that shouldn't be there, off the rolls over the next few years.
So there you go. So much for the Biden White House's arguments that, well, the state laws do a really good job at keeping election fraud at bay. All right, guys, down to brass tacks. Imagine this. Non-citizens, illegal aliens, potentially negating your vote. That's right. A lot of people are thinking about this logically now. About 99 and 44, 100% of illegals will vote for Joe Biden and Democrats because they believe they are the party that gave them a new life that you and I are paying for in America. So when you vote for Trump, there's going to be one of 12 million people who's going to negate your vote. It's unfair, it's illegal, it's un-American, it's very Democrat. Now, Johnson's take is that Biden's veto announcement practically invites illegal aliens to sway our elections. But is that really what's happening? I mean, the tension here is getting pretty strong because we knew all along that as Biden had an open border, that was his intentions. So let's get into what the bill actually proposes. The Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act aims to amend the National Voter Registration Act of 1993. It would require voters to show proof of citizenship like a valid U.S. passport, military ID, or a government-issued photo ID. These measures are meant to ensure that only U.S. citizens can vote. But here's the catch. The debate over these requirements is now heating up, as it always does, and they're playing the race card, among other things. Here's another thing that the NVRA does that Democrats don't want to talk about. The NVRA forces all 50 secretaries of state to keep certain people on voter rolls for years before being able to purge them. We're talking about people who have died and people who have moved out of the state. In other words, people who would never know that they just voted. So what the Democrats have been doing for years is they find out who died and who left the state and then send them a mail-in ballot or have someone impersonate them at the ballot box. This is why they don't like voter ID, and this is why they do like mail-in ballots. And it's easy to do. Politicians can get their hands on their state's voter rolls, and they can match the name and address up to the USPS database and see if they moved out of the state. Not everybody notifies the state that they moved out, but they do notify the post office because they want their mail delivered to their new address. They also match the state voter rolls to see if a person died. What they do is they go to the Social Security database and match it there. And then voila, they have a whole new set of voters, usually in the tens of thousands per state, which could sway an election statewide. Now you know the rest of the story of why the Stacey Abrams of the world scream voter suppression whenever Republicans want to clean up the voter rolls by getting rid of dead people and people who moved out of the state. Now, Speaker Johnson argues that the bill is essential for election integrity, especially with over 12 million illegal immigrants entering the U.S. under Biden's watch. The question is, will this bill truly protect voter integrity or just create more hurdles for legitimate voters? Well, let's break down the proof of citizenship requirements further. The bill lists several acceptable documents, including a certified birth certificate, adoption decree, consular report with birth abroad, naturalization certificate, and more. Sounds thorough, but critics argue it could disenfranchise eligible voters who may struggle to produce these documents. Well, boo frickin' who for them. With rights come responsibilities, and if you want to vote, you have to be responsible for one time in your friggin' life to prove who you are to register to vote. I think that's fair. The political implications of this are pretty huge. On one hand, supporters believe it's necessary to protect our elections. On the other hand, opponents fear it could suppress voter turnout, particularly among marginalized communities. Are you kidding me? I am so sick and tired of Democrats insulting minorities as if they are too stupid to know how to get the same ID that white liberals can get. It's insulting. So what's next? Will this bill survive Biden's veto threat? Not on your life. Joe Biden and the Democrats know that a snowball in hell has a better chance of surviving beyond November 5th than Joe Biden does winning against Trump. I predict the Democrats are going to cheat their asses off worse than 2020. They're so desperate that they cannot lose this election. All right, that's it. Thank you for watching this video. Hit the notification bell if you want to be kept up to date with what the lefties are up to next. And get engaged in the culture war because politics is just downstream. See you in the next one.
Too many secrets, too many closed doors, missing to cover ups.